We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since it's been out there. The government has been bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Federal Reserve decision yesterday on the effective federal funds rate. If you guys don't know, yesterday was a very important day for markets as we saw the effective federal funds rate stay paused between a range of 5.25 to 5.5. The reason that this is so significant is because the effective federal funds rate is essentially the rate that determines the overall rate of all of the other interest rates in the United States economy, and therefore it is one of the most important metrics that we as economic and technical analysts need to follow. When we're watching the markets, we need to pay close attention to things such as the CPI, the gross domestic product, the effective federal funds rate, the United States Central Bank balance sheet, and more. And in today's episode, we're also going to be talking about how the effective federal funds rate pause has impacted the overall price of Bitcoin and where we may be going next. Today, we're going to be streaming from my kitchen because I honestly think that we've been very blessed with a beautiful kitchen. I think it makes a pretty decent backdrop. I got to go ahead and get my other camera so that if I have to use this studio, if you will, again, that it will be through a better camera than just my MacBook. But I've got audio here, which is the most important piece of production. One of the first things you learn in YouTube is that audio is far more important than video because you guys are probably driving down the road listening to me or putting this on in the background. Probably only about half of you are actually watching what we're doing. So hopefully the audio is good and I will be working on the video. Why am I home? I told you guys on Monday that we're cooperating in a criminal trial against a individual that was, how should we say, violent. And so I'm staying home for right now, staying near my wife. You might be wondering, well, Jeb, you were in office yesterday. Well, my lovely wife decided to sit in the car. Right, I didn't say that yesterday, because obviously we're trying to be safe and everything. But she decided to hang out in the car with it turned on with our daughter so that I could stream in studio. Today, we're not able to do that. We're home because I also told you a couple of weeks ago that I had to write I got to write two very large checks. And I'm very excited that today we get to use one of those checks to go pick up the other check. So I'll just leave it at that for now. But really cool announcements are coming in the next month or so. It's going to be a bit of a how shall I say, there's a lot of work to get to those announcements. And just to be quite honest with you guys, it's been a lot on myself and on Sarah. And it was really exciting, but I'm hoping that I can do a better job of juggling all the balls. But sometimes when you're juggling just a bunch of balls, it's very, very hard to keep every one of them in the air. So I do apologize if I've dropped any of those. I am trying, and so we're going to continue bringing you guys content that I think you guys are going to really be able to profit from. I got a lot of ideas about content over the next several years, and cannot wait to bring you that. But let's go ahead and jump on into reading chat, and then we'll jump straight on into the stories for today. Right now, Mike Lowry is in chat. He was the first. He said, morning. Good morning to you as well, Mike Lowry. Crypto Surge in chat said, good morning. I know you were worried that I wasn't reading your chats. Well, here we go. Being BTC Crypto Alerts in chat. Joe Bollier's in chat. Crypto Mini Bike in chat. Cat's in chat. Sifu Lee is in chat. Said, morning. RC Moore said, well, hello. Well, hello to you as well. Mike Lowry is in chat. Let's go. Going to be a great Thursday. It is going to be a great Thursday. And you know what? I think I can make one of the announcements that I've been sitting on for a while today. I think I can make one of them today. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I think there's this lie that we've been told that every single time we make an announcement, it's got to be this big fancy press release. I think I can make one of the announcements today. Give me a 1 in chat if you want me to make one of the announcements today that I think you guys will really like. Philly Skills 1428 in chat said, morning, Jeb. How's it going today? It's going well. Mike Lowry's in chat. Thomas Post in chat said, New York Giants football game tonight. There you go. Ryan Jenkins said, Jeb, you're the man. Time to climb for the next year. Let's go. That's right. Mike Lowry in chat said, hashtag FinSolve. Pew Pew Poom 2 said, hey, Jeb, yeah, the Fed meeting didn't help, but it dropped hard today because of the jobs report. Yep, we're going to look at that as well. Let's continue reading chat here. Very, very closely. Just 1 second. Yeah. Still cooking in the kitchen. Crypto Mini Bike. We're cooking up some gains in the kitchen. What's for lunch, Jeb? I don't know. Probably my wife made some incredible pancakes. So I'm probably going to have some pancakes for lunch. OMAC's in chat. Adam Rourke's in chat. What are you buying or investing in? Great question. Right now, I am already as far into Bitcoin as I want to be. We're stacking cash and just we're working on just growing our net worth in other directions. One of the things that we've really done very well, and we have a lot of money invested in the cryptocurrency market, but we're also trying to diversify and be in the stock market as well. So the most recent investments I've made are in the stock market, actually, because we haven't been diversified over there. That was one of the mistakes I made during the last bull market. I didn't pull out enough profits and put it into something that was going to be able to be kind of a baseline investment. So, for example, whenever you're investing in the cryptocurrency market, it's very important to maintain an investment in Bitcoin as the backing for the rest of that investment in case one of those smaller cap altcoins doesn't pan out the way that you think it will. At the same time, I've also come to learn over the last couple of years that it's very important to maintain investments in a market that is even lower risk and more steady. And I think the stock market performs very well for that. So I think a lot of people are very disenfranchised with the stock market. They're very disenfranchised with traditional finance, and for good reason. There are plenty of reasons to be disenfranchised with the banking system. But what I will say is that there's a lot of times that people throw out the stock market with the banking system, and I don't think that's very helpful, because it's very important that you are investing in something that's going to bring you wealth, and believing the dogma that investing in the stock market is just going to screw you over is not necessarily something that you want to do, because any investment can screw you over. I was just telling someone yesterday, I have only ever seen one person, actually it was the day before yesterday, and it was Sean, the founder and CEO of Lux Algo. I was like, I've met so many people in crypto, and I met this one guy. Let me tell you a story, and then we'll jump into the news and everything for today. I think you'll find this helpful. I've met one guy. I have a picture of me and him on my phone. I think I posted the picture on our Twitter like 2 years ago. But I met him at a Publix like a week before I got married. So it was about almost 2 years ago now. He says, Jeb, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you. And he ran up to me. He's like, Jeb, I made 400 grand because I bought this meme coin. I'm like, wow, nice. Did you cash out? He's like, yeah, I locked it all in. I made 400 grand. I profit 400 grand. I was like, whoa, he actually did it. The mad lad did it. He bet on a meme coin, made 400 grand. I met him the day I bought this new phone, actually, and at Best Buy. And he's like, Jeb, it's so good to see you. How you doing? He's like super excited. He's like, you remember how I made 400 grand? Well, I bought a house and I'm here to buy appliances for it. He's at Best Buy buying brand new appliances, right? So this dude absolutely nailed it in crypto. You know how many people I've met that got rich with one trade? One. Him. So good for him, but the reliable strategy that you're much more likely to get wealthy off of is do what he did, potentially. Have a moon bag, speculate, sure, why not? We're in crypto. That's a great idea if you're doing it responsibly. But at the same time, build a backing for your portfolio. And that's why I recommend heavily investing in Bitcoin and in the stock market, and also investing in smaller cap altcoins if you find something that you really appreciate. Don't believe the dogma that you can only do one and not the other. And if you're an investor in Bitcoin, you can't be an investor in the stock market. And also, if you're in stocks and you're new here, don't believe the dogma that because you're in the stock market, you can't invest in Bitcoin. At the bottom, at the end of the day, we are here to make the world a better place and to make money, so that we have resources to go and make the world a better place, and so we can be radically generous. I believe it's important to have an investment in both. All right. Adam Rourke said, what are you was talking about the checks you're writing? Well, the entire premise of the question was something other than what I thought. I'm not going to tell you yet, but I want to so bad. I want to tell you so bad, but it's a big enough change. I think I need to kind of think about how I'm going to tell you. I'm excited about it. Some of you guys might not like it. I think you all will. I'm going to be honest. I don't think anybody's going to dislike this. I think some of you guys might be a little bit sad for like a day, but then you're going to be like, oh, this is great. All right. Hi, Jeb. You're the crypto goat. Congrats from Madagascar. Wasabi's in chat. Wasabi. How you doing? All right. I've been rambling long enough. Let's jump on over to CoinMarketCap. As you guys can see, Bitcoin is trading down 2.28% over the last 24 hours, and that's really what we're going to be talking about today. Why did Bitcoin go through that correction? Well, first things first, I want to talk a little bit about the effective federal funds rate. Now, we've discussed this quite a lot, and if you haven't seen the video I made yesterday on this, I would highly encourage you to go back and watch it, because I explain how the effective federal funds rate is decided, what the point of the effective federal funds rate is, and how the Fed works. If you haven't watched that video, I would recommend watching that. Briefly, essentially what I was saying with that is that the effective federal funds rate is the backing rate for the entire United States market. If there's an interest rate anywhere, it is based off of the effective federal funds rate. And honestly, I say anywhere, and I leave out America because honestly, the rest of the interest rates around the world also kind of base themselves on that rate, because the other central banks follow that rate. That rate is the backing for how much it costs to get debt. Like it or hate it, our world revolves on debt. There's a lot of debt in our world, and so when you are taking out that debt, you have to pay interest because the person loaning you money isn't doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're loaning you money because they want to make money off of you. If you've ever gotten something financed, it says the amount financed and it says the cost of financing, and oftentimes the cost of financing is more expensive than the financing itself. Oftentimes it's maybe even twice as expensive as the thing you're financing itself. A lot of times 1-to-1 if you're getting a good interest rate, but sometimes it can be 2-to-1, twice as expensive. You're spending $2 to give to the bank or the credit union or whoever you're getting loan to you from, and you're spending $1 on principal. And when you start with the amortization schedule, 85% of your payments going into interest at the beginning of the loan. So that interest rate is extremely important for the growth of business and for individuals because individuals take out mortgages, individuals take out car loans, individuals have credit cards, individuals that are trying to start businesses take out small business loans. All of these loans have interest rates, so this impacts individuals and small business. This also impacts large business that is trying to expand business operations through the acquisition of debt. For the most part, when a company expands in a major way, it ends up going through quite a lot of debt onboarding. It takes on a lot of debt. And so it'll use the profits from that profitable enterprise to pay off the debt. For example, nuclear power plants are a great example of this. When you build a nuclear power plant, you don't expect to turn a profit for 15 years. 15 years, depending on the nuclear power plant, it can be anywhere from 10 to 20 years. But the basic calculus is that you don't profit for 15 years because all of the profits, if you will, that the nuclear power plant would have been making go to the loan to build the thing because it cost $15 billion to build. And so when you have interest rates go up, naturally it slows down the growth. How many nuclear power plants are you going to build when you have to spend twice as much money as you expected originally on debt? It's not profitable. It makes certain business ventures completely and totally unprofitable. And it makes others much more difficult to profit off of. In a way, that can drive competition because you have to drive down costs in another way so you can spend what money you have left over paying for the debt. In another way, it also drives people to use less debt, which is in theory a good thing. It's a little bit like putting a massive fat tax on cigarettes. You're trying to disincentivize people from buying them. Whether that works or not, we can argue about that all day. The point here is when the interest rate goes up, it slows down economic growth. It's that simple. Like I can explain it from 100 different angles, but the simple calculus is that when the when the interest rate goes up, it is intended to slow down the growth of the economy. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. It is directly intended to slow down the growth of the economy because the growth of the economy is one of the most inflationary activities. So let's back up a little bit. I want to talk a little about geopolitics, then we're going to talk about the interest rate, and then we're going to dive into how it actually applies to Bitcoin. So just keep that in the back of your mind. You're going to think, Jeb, you're going to talk about a few things, and I don't really know how this applies to crypto. Well, we're going to tie it all in because I firmly believe that to look at Bitcoin and cryptocurrency without looking at it through the lens of geopolitics and without looking at it through the lens of macroeconomics is irresponsible, to say the least, if you have investment in crypto. Many great investors will tell you that when you buy a share in a company or when you buy a percentage of a cryptocurrency, you are then an owner of that network, of that company. And so you, as the owner, I, as the owner, have an obligation to understand the thing that we're purchasing because that's good stewardship of our money. You have a moral obligation to understand what it is that you're investing in. And that's something that we should take very, very seriously. So let's look at the kind of macroeconomic and geopolitical landscape, see how it ties into the effective federal funds rate, and then also let's tie that in to Bitcoin. First and foremost, someone's saying, don't block my message. I'm not blocking your message. I'm not blocking any messages, Satoshi. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, I'll have to check that in a minute. George from Cryptos R Us is texting me. By the way, guys, he is putting on a conference. I've been meaning to talk about this. Cyberpunk 2022, I believe it's called. You guys should definitely check it out. It's in like a week. I am really, 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 really sad that I'm not going to be able to go. I was so looking forward to being able to go to that. My family is already committed to going to a family camp in Missouri, so I was going to announce that anyway. That's one of the other announcements. But I'm not going to be able to go, and I want to go so bad. I want to go so bad. I want to go to what we're going to also so bad, but I've already made a commitment, so I'm going to have to be there next year. Sorry, George, if you're watching this, I am so sorry. I want to go so bad, but there will always be another conference, and I'm sure we'll get to meet up again. All right, so background. A couple of things I want to touch on. You've heard me talk about these before, but there's a few different there's a few different developments. First and foremost, China is completely collapsing, and so too is Russia. These two nations are falling apart at the seams, and they've essentially lost all capability of being a modern functional economy. So when you look at China, it is undergoing about 10 different crises at once. I'll kind of rattle them off quickly, and I'll make this short because I know some of you guys aren't very interested in this. You would just want to hear about crypto. First and foremost, they're going through a leadership crisis. President Xi Jinping has purged the system in an attempt to get rid of corruption, but of course it's just corruption if he says it is. He's actually the corrupt one, and he has built for himself a cult of personality. If you disagree with him, then you disappear. It's that simple. So that's the number one issue that China's going through. It's gone through that problem for the last 4,000 years. They're also going through a water crisis because of the amount of pollution. They have destroyed their own environment, and so now there's desertification expanding at dozens of acres a day and taking over major cities like Beijing. Beijing is actually one of the driest cities with that size of population in the world now. They're going through a housing crisis. They're going through a demographical crisis. They've overcounted their population by 100 million. They've peaked out on population, and now they don't have anywhere near enough workers to reverse the trend. China is collapsing. Now, talking about Russia briefly. Russia has obviously declared war on Ukraine in their special military operation. And the problem here, the development here that I thought was interesting is that Russia is actually now going to North Korea for arms. And that is absolutely hilarious for anybody who knows history, because if you look at the history, Russia has the Soviet Union specifically was always the supporter of North Korea. They were always giving them arms, and now they're turning around and getting artillery shells that are 50 years old from the North Koreans because the ones that they have are blowing themselves up, literally exploding in the artillery. The war between Russia and Ukraine has had a huge shockwaves on the global economy. It's also made the United States government realize just how important it is that they maintain a strong dollar. The collapse of China has made the United States just as serious about maintaining a strong dollar. And so that's what is going into the calculus, not just the domestic issues, which you hear about all the time, but that's part of what's going into the calculus when you see the effective federal funds rate being this high. The United States wants to bring the inflation down, maintain a very strong dollar, and be able to understand maintain a strong dollar that we'd be able to use it as a weapon against other nations, as far as to exert the will of the United States through the use of the currency on nations like Russia and China, the two kind of pariah states in the world right now. China not as much, but they're quickly moving in that direction. So that's part of the reason that you don't hear about very often that the effective federal funds rate has been hiked. But what are the other reasons? Well, of course, the inflation rate in the United States is high. The Fed has a dual mandate: bring down inflation, bring down unemployment. Unemployment is relatively low. I believe that there may have been some data released just recently on all of this with the jobs data, but in general, and I'll look, someone said some new data came out today. I must have missed something, but everything that we've seen, unemployment is still quite low. I do believe I'm missing something, so I will check that out. But because the jobs data came out at the top of the month, I'm not sure what you're talking about. But either way, the jobs market is looking relatively healthy right now, even if there's slight blips in the trend, even if there's slight movement. I will look more into that and make sure I'm not missing something. But in general, the downtrend, the unemployment is very low. So the Fed has that calculus. They say, look, we are seeing that the inflation rate is high, it's going up, and we're seeing that jobs are low, so we're going to raise interest rates. Now the question becomes, are they going to hike rates next month? And this is what I really want to get to, because this is the component of this that actually matters to you. So we've kind of talked about a little bit of background, talked about some of the instabilities that are going on in the world economy that the Fed is looking at that are driving their decisions. But is the Fed going to hike rates next month? That's the question on everyone's mind. Actually, November 1st, so in about 45 days. Are they going to hike rates? Well, let's go over here to CME Group Fed Watch, and I want to see what they have to say and show you what they have to say. But I also want to do some analysis myself. In 41 days, we're going to have the next Fed meeting. It's November 1st, as you know. And they are predicting right now with a 71% likelihood of no change once again, but a 28.7% likelihood of a hike. A 28.7% likelihood of a hike. Now, let's just talk about the trend. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. I mentioned this in yesterday's stream. But I want to talk about it because I want you to see this in action. Let's go ahead and turn this on regular. The trend thus far in this hiking cycle ever since March of last year has been 25, 50, 75, 75, 75, 75, 475. So a 25, a 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 75 basis point rate hikes. Then a 50 right here. then a 25 right here, a 25, a 25. We had 3 25s in a row, then a pause, then a 25, now a pause. I hope you can see that. That's the way the trend is changing. So the question now becomes, since we've seen this pause, are we now going to see the market stay paused? Or on November 1st, we see it jump up by 25 basis points? Which scenario are we going to witness? And that's the topic of what we're going to discuss for the rest of this stream. Here's the problem. Gasoline prices are still going up very quickly, so are insurance policies. If you go to bls.gov/CPI, then you're going to see that inflation is currently sitting at 3.7. You hit read more right here, and then come down here, hit show table. Again, this is bls.gov/CPI. You see motor vehicle insurance is up 19.1%. I believe that's going to continue climbing. Motor vehicle maintenance and repair is also up. Transportation services in general are up. Natural gas, piped gasoline, and fuel oil are all moving up. We're going to see fuel oil probably jump to -5 to -8 at the next print. Gasoline is going to flip positive in a massive way. This is probably going to be plus 10%, not -3. Natural gas is probably going to go to -10 to -12. Natural gas is not moving up as quickly as these other commodities, partially because it's not being used in, partially because it's the use cases for natural gas are quite different. A lot of times it's used in electrical generation, not just the internal combustion engines. But what we can see is that several of these numbers are probably going to climb. Some of them are going to come down, and it is starting to balance itself out. Things are starting to return to equilibrium. The ones that are massively low are starting to move up, and the ones that are very high are starting to come down a little bit. It's returning to some kind of equilibrium, but where that equilibrium falls is probably going to be between 3 and 4%, which means that the Fed, trying to combat the inflation, is going to need to maintain a higher interest rate for longer to get this under control. Make no mistake, the Fed is not going to drop us back down to 0% inflation. The Fed is not going to drop us down to 0% interest rates until we have seen inflation come down. They're not going to drop the effective federal funds rate that far until they have seen inflation come down to at least 3% and stay there for a while. If you watch the press conference, Jerome Powell made it very clear they are watching all of the data and that another rate hike was absolutely possible. And so we need to keep that in the back of our mind. Jerome Powell, the man who is in charge of the Fed, he didn't come out and say, no more rate hikes, we're pausing for good now. He didn't say that. And until he says that, we shouldn't take it that way. We should run under the assumption that we will have more rate hikes until we are told that we won't. And right now, we are being told that another one may come based on incoming data, which is what he's been saying for a while, and we've seen rate hikes under that kind of rhetoric. I believe that we are going to see another rate hike, and I believe that when we do see that rate hike, it will have a negative impact on Bitcoin. We've already seen a negative impact on Bitcoin from a pause, so let's discuss the market now that we've gotten to that point. Let's go back to log scale and look at Bitcoin. When I say that Bitcoin has dropped hard, I do mean it. Bitcoin has dropped relatively hard, but not as hard as it could. Bitcoin's dropped about $1,000 over the last 24 hours. And the reason I say it's dropped hard is because we have rejected hard from a very important level of resistance, about $750 to $1,000 in correction. Bitcoin has this huge downtrending level of resistance right here that it needs to contend with. It was attempting to break bullish above that, and we even had some trade setups for if that occurred, but as you can see, it technically rejected from this in a very strong way. Now, let's look at the bullish side and the bearish side. The bearish side is that Bitcoin has rejected from that trend line. The bearish side is that RSI has dropped back down to 50. It looks like it may fall below the 14 interval moving average right here. And the other bearish component is coming in from Luxalgo. We are dropping down here, and we did not actually get a buy signal. Now, the bullish component, and this is where I want to really bring you guys the hope, because I think there actually is a lot to be said on the bullish camp here. Many people are fearful of this movement, and that's kind of the person I wanted to attract with today's title. A lot of people think, oh my gosh, Bitcoin dropped so hard. What are we going to do? You guys sometimes get on to me for the way that I make my titles, but one of the reasons that I make titles like Bitcoin drops hard after Fed rate pause is because I want to bring in the people that want to hear the fear-mongering and then give them hope. I hope you understand that. That's my strategy. I'll be very clear with it. That is my strategy. If I make something that seems sensationalist to the bearish side, I'm trying to get the sensationalist so I can calm them down a little bit. I'm fishing with the right kind of bait here, guys. And I want to tell you that Bitcoin did drop kind of hard. But you're not going to hear me being unhopeful about that. I'm going to give you some hope. Here, check this out. Over on Bitcoin has done a couple of things that are very good. Number one, Bitcoin has stopped and paused above our support level. Our support level has been sitting right here at $26,357 and change. That level comes from all of the different resistance touches that we put into play recently and support touches that we put into play even more recently. Very important level. We're holding right there around 26,350, somewhere in that range, whatever number you want to call it. On top of that, out on the daily chart, that also happens to be where the 20 daily exponential moving average is. The 20 daily exponential moving average is at 26,500. And if we look at Lux Algo, we also see that the trend catcher is sitting right here at 26,450, meaning that Bitcoin is managing to hold on critical support. And the fact that Bitcoin is able to hold on critical support at the moment entails that this is a bear trap. If Bitcoin falls below 26,350, then that's where you want to start considering a short trade. Right now, this is a massive bear trap. Let me just explain briefly what I mean by that. If you've got a level and it's right here, let's use this level just for kicks and giggles. If the market comes down here, right there, do you invest at this point? If the market is sitting right here at this level, and here's the support level, do you short right here? If you do, and the market bounces and rallies off the support, then you just got yourself a losing trade, which will mess up your win-loss ratio and will mess up your overall profitability. Now, if the market drops down here and it actually falls through the support, and you've got some kind of pattern or trading strategy that you're running, then yes, maybe that's an opportunity. But until the market's actually dropped through the support, it's a bear trap. Same thing with the uptrend. If Bitcoin's coming up to this level of resistance in this case, every level of support and resistance that is relative to where the market is, if you're coming up to this level of resistance and you buy right here, it's a bull trap. If you wait until you've crossed through their support and then you buy, then you're making a good trade. So wait until you've broken the support or resistance level before you start making the trade. Otherwise, you're investing in a bull or a bear trap. Right now, this is a bear trap. If you're looking at this and you're saying, oh man, it's time to short, you're wrong. I just want to be that clear. This is not the time to short. You're right above 3 critical and proven time-tested support levels. You've got support at 26,350, which is vindicated by the last month of price action. You've also got trend catcher on Lux Algo, which has been a remarkably important level of support and resistance, even in recent memory. You can see right here is used as resistance, was used as the baseline of support back here in this market. And you've also got the 20 EMA, which is one of the most powerful technical indicators in all of analysis. So Bitcoin's got great support. The MACD is still bullish, and its top line just moved up here above the 0 level, still trending up. RSI could very easily bounce off the 14-day, 14-interval moving average. And also, if we look at volume here, we can see that the red volume is smaller than the green volume, indicating to me that the bears are not quite as strong as the bulls. The other way that we know that, and we don't fully know that because it hasn't played itself out fully, but the bulls managed to uptrend for about 9 days or so. The bears have been in charge for 2. It's not something I'm worried about yet. If we start breaking below 26,350, then we start becoming bears. But right now, this is nothing more, in my opinion, than the first leg down of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave pattern. Just like this. Boom, boom, boom. Forget about wave 3, 4, and 5 because those haven't happened yet. You can also argue that this is a 1, 2, 3, or you could argue that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can look at this however you want, but on this larger term, like on the 4-hourly chart, if you were to look at this, or even the, say, the 8-hourly chart, this is starting to look like the first corrective wave of a larger movement, which means that if we bounce from here and we break through this downtrending level of resistance, then that's a great opportunity for us to make a trade. If we fall here below this uptrending level of support, that's another kind of trade. That's an ABC correction. And if you look at the market here, it's very possible that we have an ABC correction. ABC. We could see something like that form. We just need to sit and wait and watch. And if you're trying to make a trade here, don't make a short if you're doing a swing trade. I'm talking about an inter-day trade, as in a trade you're going to hold for multiple days. I would be very cautious of entering a trade when you're a short trade, when you're above the 20 EMA and above critical support and above the Lux Algo trend catcher, especially when the trend catcher is green, because then you're betting against Lux Algo, and that's normally not the best idea. And if you're trying to enter a long, you need to wait until you get above this downtrend. So that's my encouragement to you, is that if you're watching and trying to figure out where to place a trade, I don't think you're ready for either one, but you want to pay very close attention to the market because an opportunity could show up at any time. All right, let's read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys. Good deal. A lot of drama in chat that I am not going to address. Let's see. Main character said it's actually illegal to make a competing currency to the US dollar in the United States, but crypto has been allowed to exist because the people that print your money created Bitcoin. That is a fun theory. I don't think I agree with it, but it's a fun theory. There's a lot of people that think that the Fed created Bitcoin so that it would get people used to the idea of a digital currency so that they could come in with their own digital currency and people would already have some kind of understanding of it. Part of the reason I think that is complete nonsense is the Fed is tiny. The Fed is tiny. Some people also say that, and the Fed also has no interest in that. That's not their mandate. If they want to create a digital currency, it's going to get adopted because they're the freaking Fed. They work with all of the banks. All of the banks rely on the Fed. So that kind of rules out the Fed, in my opinion, because if they wanted to make a digital currency, which they're trying to, if they wanted to make a digital currency, they don't need to make Bitcoin to convince people to use digital currencies. They just do it, which is what they're doing. And the banks will adopt it if it's a good product, which having no fees because the Fed is guaranteeing it is a good way to get people to buy your stuff. Just say, forget capitalism. We're just going to subsidize it with the government, right? We're not going to worry about free market capitalism. We're just going to create a product and just delete a component of the free market. That's kind of how governments work. Is, well, oh, we're just going to do this ourselves. We're just going to make it free. Let me tell you something. My family, my wife's mother's family, they lived in Romania as missionaries for 7 years right after the fall of the Iron Curtain, and then they went back to Romania from 2001 to 2008, something like that. I have heard the stories firsthand, as far as I'm an eyewitness of stories from people that have lived under communism and directly after the fall of communism and under dictatorships. That is not something you want. Try walking down the road and not being able to find bread anywhere on that street, not anywhere in a single store. I have heard stories of my in-laws having to eat radishes and onions, and that was their dinner for weeks. And if you didn't like it, tough, you can either eat that or you can go hungry. These are true stories from people that I know personally that have lived there. Communism and trying to replace the free market with government never works for the people or for the government. It is a disgusting form of governance. Being good to people is a great thing, but capitalism is the only way to run a modern economy, run any kind of economy, and for it not to hurt people. So that kind of rules out the Fed, right? Let's kind of speculate. The NSA created Bitcoin. Why would the NSA create Bitcoin? What's the point? If the NSA was going to create Bitcoin, why would they make it pseudonymous, where you have records of everything, but you can't tell who's who? Why would they do that? What's the point of that? The CIA created Bitcoin. Why? Nobody has a good why for me on these things. Why would the CIA create Bitcoin? What's the purpose of that? To go destabilize other countries? Well, Bitcoin's one of the things that's bringing stability to unstable current countries. It's been incredible. Oh, man. Let's see. Can't stop it. Yep, can't stop Bitcoin. That's true. I'm going to read chat here for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to wrap it out because, as I said, I got to go use one of those checks to go pick up the other one. I'm so excited. All right. Dude, yes, someone did. I'll just go somewhere else to give the data. Satoshi, I didn't delete your message. I don't know what you said. You're welcome to say whatever you want, so long as it follows the basic rules. Okay. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo using coupon code JEB at JEBB30 for 30% off at checkout. If you sign up for Lux Algo using that coupon code and with the annual plan, then you will save yourself over $400. You'll bring the monthly cost of Lux Algo down from about $67, $68 a month down to about $26 to $28 a month. And you're going to be so glad you did, because that technical indicator, if you make one winning trade a month because of it, which if you're a trader, you definitely will, you're going to end up making that money back in droves. It's an investment in your own analysis, an investment in your own education. And if you've got enough disposable capital and you just find it interesting, it's a really cool indicator if you're just a hobbyist and you're not actually going to use it for trading. It's going to give you so much information, and I'm really, really excited about it. Is Bitcoin not another thing Jordan Belfort would sell? Please answer my question, Lol. I'm a bit late. So what's the deal with Jordan Belfort selling Bitcoin? Is that the idea that As far as obviously we know the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, the most vulgar movie ever created in the history of mankind. Literally, that's a true story. If you look it up, when it came out, it had the most vulgarity of any movie in history. Broke like 3 records. I'm not sure what you mean by him selling. Are you trying to say that he would sell it and that would be a way that he would like get super rich again? Maybe I could see it. Obviously, he's not very establishment. He doesn't really like the establishment because the establishment busted him. I don't even know if he's allowed to do that because he's got a lot of restrictions on him from when he was prosecuted. He's not able to transact securities. So maybe he'd be able to sell Bitcoin. I don't know. Maybe he could start a crypto exchange. If anybody knows Jordan Belfort personally, then go ask the guy. I don't know. He'd have to speak for himself on that. All right. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. That is going to wrap it out. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.